There we go. So hello, everyone. I'm Linda Skipper. I am the coordinator for designated subjects credentials here at LACO within the CTE unit. I'm excited that you are here today to learn more about adult education credentials and the process to obtain a preliminary or clear credential. CTE and adult ed are an integral part of California's educational system and workforce development. So we're glad you're here and find this an important thing to learn more about. This webinar will be recorded, as I said, and will be placed on our Canvas page later if you ever need to refer back to it, as well as any resources that we talk about today. Near the end of the presentation, we will review LACO's new website and help you navigate that. And we will have an opportunity for Q&A at the end, but please feel free to enter questions into the chat room at any time. We may hold some of them till the end. There might be some quick answers that Nancy might give out, or we might pause if it's something we really need to go into a little deeper with you if everyone needs to know that information. So let's get started with who's in the house today. If you could use the chat room to enter your name, district, your title. You know, we've got probably a variety of people here today. It could be district or school site administrators, could be someone already with a credential, someone thinking about getting a credential, someone that has another credential that might want to add an AE credential as well. Could be human resources personnel that have to decipher whether or not someone will qualify for an adult ed credential. And then we might have some county office of ed people here as well. Looks like we do have a good variety of people. This is great. This is actually the first time we're doing a webinar that's just on adult ed credentials. We've done them in the past on CTE credentials, and we'll continue to do one each spring on CTE credentials, but we've added this one on adult ed credentials because there are some differences in the CTE versus adult ed. So we do want to make sure that you have information clear on the adult ed credentials. Okay, so thank you. Thank you all for being here. So our targeted objectives for today, we're going to do an overview of LACO's designated subjects credentials program. Explore the types of authorizations for adult ed credentials, examine the qualifications for adult ed credentials, review the requirements for the clear adult ed credential, and explore how to use the new LACO website to access information. And when I say new, it rolled out on Friday. So we are still in the process of migrating over to our new website and making it more user-friendly. It's going to take a week or so to get everything where we need it. So if you have looked at our website in the last 2-3 days, you might not have been able to find what you were looking for. So there are some things that aren't the same. So we are working with the website managers on getting everything designed how we need it to make it user-friendly for all of you. So LACO is an approved program sponsor by the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing for designated subjects credentials. LACO evaluates designated subject credential applications and can recommend those that qualify for preliminary, clear credentials and extensions when needed. LACO also provides a series of required and sequenced teacher preparation courses through the University of San Diego. So there are 3 types of designated subjects credentials. There's the adult ed credential, which you're only authorized to teach adults. The career technical education credential, authorized to teach K-12 and adults. And then the supervision and coordination credential, which is accepted by some ROCPs and adult schools for that supervisory capacity in lieu of an admin credential. The webinar today will focus on that first bullet, the adult education credentials. So types of adult education credentials. There are general subjects and academic subjects. So under general subjects, we have personal development, those are non-academic, and the career technical education, which is also non-academic. And then there's the academic subjects, such as English as a second language, elementary and secondary basic skills, and then individual subjects. And over the next 7 slides, I will break down each of these a little bit further for you. So for general subjects, the requirements are, you have to have 3 years of verifiable industry experience. College units can be used for up to 2 years of experience. Industry certification or general education teaching can also be used towards 1 year of experience. There must be a minimum of 1 year industry experience when combined with other avenues. A high school diploma or GED certification is required. College graduation transcripts with an AA degree or higher can also be used in lieu of tracking down that old high school diploma. And then fingerprinting needs to be completed and the form sent in with the application. However, that certificate of clearance does not have to be posted when the application is sent into us. For those of you that are familiar with CTE applications, that's a little different because we have to have that COC posted before they send the application into us. Another area that differs between adult ed and CTE is the payments. Adult ed requires 2 money orders or cashier's checks because these get physically mailed to CTC once we complete the processing and recommendation. So for personal development, these subjects require the 3 years of experience in a related area. Again, college units can be used for up to 2 years of experience, or industry certification can also be used towards 1 year of experience. So we have art, which is arts and crafts, creative arts, interior design, health and safety. This is your CPR, first aid, health education, nutrition, and safety education. Family education includes childbirth education, food management and preparation, nutrition, home management, human development, and parent education. And then for financial literacy, that's your consumer education and retirement planning. And within the application packet, there is a complete list of the subsumed non-academic subjects that can be reviewed as well. So to qualify for CTE authorizations, again, they need to have experience, 3 years experience in one of the 15 industry sectors. Again, they can use that combination of coursework and industry certification for up to 2 years of that required 3 years experience. Since we are focused on adult ed credentials only today, a CTE authorization can be on an adult ed credential, but you have to remember that only allows the candidate to teach adults. We often clarify with our candidates, especially if we get an application that is only for a CTE credential on an adult ed application. We always reach out to them and make sure that is truly what their intention is, and make sure that they understand the difference between a regular CTE credential versus a CTE authorization on an adult ed credential. So requirements for academic subjects. They must have a bachelor's degree or higher from a regionally accredited college or university. We have to have official transcripts that have the conferral date included as well. and that needs to be included with the application packet. Now, oftentimes these are sent to us electronically, so they're not actually in the packet. If they have sealed official transcripts, they can be sent along with the packet. But most people, once they send in their application, order theirs electronically to be sent to me directly, and then we will connect that with the packet that we receive. So the basic skills requirement, this is in reading, writing, and mathematics. So if people have CBEST, a permanent passing status in CBEST on all 3 areas, they're good to go as far as the basic skills requirement. If they don't have CBEST, then they need to use coursework off of an official transcript to meet that basic skills requirement. So what we're looking for is a passing grade of B or better in those areas: literature, composition, mathematics. The courses need to be degree applicable, not remedial courses, and they need to be taken again at a regionally accredited college or university, and they need to be 3 semester units. There are some other exams that can be used, and it can be combined with CBEST as well. So AP scores of 3 or higher, SAT scores. CTC has this wonderful new BSR calculator. And Nancy will put that link in the chat for you if you want to explore that. The BSR calculator, and we can look at it at the end as well, if you'd like to talk further about it. But this gives candidates that opportunity to self-assess whether or not they meet the requirements. And it's got some great features where you can hover over and it will give you all those other options. If you don't have an English composition class, it will tell you what other things you can use to meet that requirement. And then the live scan fingerprinting needs to be completed prior to sending the application. They need to include the form showing that the transaction has been completed, and that's what they fill out when they're getting the live scan done. The person processing their live scan fills out that bottom portion of the live scan form. So remember, again, to reiterate, this is different than a CTE application where COC needs to post first. We only need that live scan form to include with the application.
Linda, before you move on,
yes,
I got a request. Can you repeat the information about the difference between a CTE credential and an adult ed credential with a CTE subject?
Okay, so for a CTE credential, a pure CTE credential, you can teach K through 12 and adults. Then a separate adult ed credential, it can have a CTE authorization. That's one of those general subjects, but you can only teach adults if you have that authorization. So if someone is thinking about, oh, they might teach K-12 at some point, we are definitely going to tell them they should get the straight CTE credential. That does require a whole separate application, but some of those requirements to clear are the same and duplicated. So they, you know, there's just going to be one class difference for most people. Does that help? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're getting into those academic subjects. So English is a second language. You need 20 semester units. It can be combined upper and lower division, or 10 semester units of upper division only. And the coursework areas include teaching English as a second language, teaching English to speakers of other languages, second language acquisition, language other than English, linguistics, or bilingual bicultural studies. And it can be a combination of these. It doesn't have to be the 10 or 20 in one area. It can be a combination. And then we have elementary and secondary basic skills. The ESL authorizes candidates to teach arithmetic, reading, individualized high school learning lab, GED, contract class settings, and citizenship. Now the requirements are 20 semester units in at least 4 academic areas with a minimum of 3 semester units in each area. So when we are analyzing transcripts, we're highlighting and coding each of these areas and looking to see if they qualify in this area. So for individual subjects, which is what that previous analyzing leads to sometimes, is if they have 20 semester units in a specific academic area, then we're able to add those authorizations as well. And they can be in English, mathematics, life science, that includes general science, physical science, that includes general science, social sciences, fine arts, and language other than English. Now, on those science courses, we do have to divide those out between the life and the physical. There is not a general science by itself, so it will be one or the other, but it includes general science. And it could be both, depending on what their major is and what courses they have. So, employing school districts. We aim to provide exemplary service to our employing school district partners, and we always need your help in having you provide our contact information to potential candidates. We want to make sure that applicants are being referred to our LACO website for the current application. Of course, as I mentioned, it's going to look a little different right now, and it's going to get better with each day as we get that new website rolled out. We want them going to our website to get the application because they are getting the most current application and the correct CTC forms that are required. If they fill out an old application, it's going to delay the process because we're going to have to request them to fill out a new one. And this happens quite often. So one of the things Nancy and I are really adamant about is referring them to our website. And we really want to discourage human resources offices from giving out the application because oftentimes they have an old version. Every time we make an update to the application, then it gets uploaded on our website. So please send them to our website. And during this transition with our website, if you can't find it, please have them call our office and then we'll email it directly out. So when you're hiring, if you are a hiring manager or someone from HR on the line, you want to kind of be looking and verifying some of those basic qualifications that I just went over. That can alleviate some heartache if they don't qualify once they get to us, but looking at those basic requirements are important. Using that BSR calculator for the self-assessment is great, especially if they don't have CBEST. Because there are a lot of combination ways to do. What happens when we have to do a basic skills requirement form? I have a special form that I have to fill out and sign off on that I have located these courses within official transcripts. And then I sign off on it, and that gets included with that packet that goes to CTC. And then if they are applying for general subjects, please check specific work experience. There are a lot of categories within each of those general subject areas. And just remember, it is the responsibility of the hiring district to vet their candidates for the specific experience that relates to the courses they will be teaching for you. Okay, now the application packet. Again, the current one is on our website. Packet number 3 is for someone who has never been credentialed in California, and application 4 is for someone who has a credential or permit on file with CTC. And I'll show you where those are in just a little bit, a few slides down. It is important that the application instructions on the cover page are followed. There are sections we specifically ask them to fill out and others that we do not want them to fill out. If they fill it out incorrectly, they're likely going to have to fill the entire thing out again. CTC does not allow for any crossouts or whiteouts on their 41-4 form. So that's why it's very specific on the cover page that's in our application. And then what I have up here is question number 6, the professional fitness question. All candidates must answer this on the 41-4 form in section 6. They must disclose conduct, even if it happened a long time ago, even if it was in another state, federal court, military jurisdiction, or outside of the US, even if they did not go to court and an attorney went for them, even if they did not go to jail or sentence was only a fine or probation, even if they received a certificate of rehabilitation, and even if the conviction was later dismissed, expunged, set aside, or suspended. The explanation portion needs to be filled out in detail and any backup documentation included if warranted. And if they fail to disclose any information that's been requested, it is considered a falsification on the application, and the commission may reject or deny the application or take disciplinary action against an existing credential. So it's very important for this to be filled out, answered correctly. Again, if there are any yes answers, there needs to be documentation associated with that. And then on the very last page of the application, it's also very important that they sign it. Oftentimes we get them and they're not signed, so that's important as well. So the recommendation letter to CTC, that's what everyone is hoping to get, and they want to know when they're going to get it the minute they send their application in. So typically in about 1 to 2 weeks, it's emailed to the candidate, and that's if we have a complete application. Once we're able to give them their recommendation letter, it comes with an email that gives them outlined details, and it says whether or not any coursework is waived. And we do offer, going back up to this time frame here, we do offer an expedite service for $60. And what that does is moves them to the front of the line behind anyone else that has paid to expedite. So sometimes we do receive a lot of expedites. People are anxious to get in the classroom, or they have an offer pending. So we do offer that service. So once you receive your recommendation letter, we will have to finalize your packet, and then we mail it to CTC. CTC will email the candidate when they have received the packet. And right now, this is taking about, they're a little behind right now, so it really is taking closer to 5 to 6 weeks at this time. Just know that during the summer and the start of the school year, everything can be slightly delayed with CTC. So while you're waiting to hear from CTC on approval, you also want to make sure you're just checking your email and seeing if you have any inquiries from them. They could say denied, or we need more information. And if a candidate does receive that email, they need to contact our office immediately, and then we will assist them with providing whatever CTC needs. But again, just know that it may take up to 3 months before they receive a final approval. And we always remind them, check your junk mail, your spam folder. Sometimes emails from CTC will end up there. And you will get that notice, the candidate will get that notice before we get word of it. So the sooner we can get on top of that, the sooner we can get people finalized and into the classroom. Now, this is the current design for our recommendation letter. You may have seen this before. Any of the subjects will be listed here. And that includes academic and general, they'll all be listed. This is used for preliminary, for add-ons, for extensions, and for clearing. We are looking at redesigning this, so within the next couple of months. So if you do see something that looks a little different, and we'll send out a sample to all of our partners just so you know when it's coming, what it's going to look like. So once someone is in the program and then they're ready to start with their coursework, This is the sequence of courses required. If any courses were waived, it would be noted in that email they received with their recommendation letter. Foundations of curriculum is rarely waived, as it is specific to adult education and CTE and how to apply the CTE model curriculum standards and adult education standards. So that is usually not waived. If someone comes to us with a single subject, multiple subject, a clear old voc ed credential, then there are going to be things that are waived based on the coursework that they took and the time that they were previously in a credentialing program. So applying for your clear credential. So hopefully before the end of the 3 years of the preliminary period, they're going to need to apply to clear their credential. They should have been taking the courses and had supervision and mentoring completed during this time as well. But starting off here on the upper left, when they do apply to clear, there is a $100 processing fee for LACO. There is a CTC fee of $100 as well. And they're going to fill out another 41-4 form, this time to clear. In their packet, they're going to be asked to include a printout of their preliminary adult ed credential. And this is from CTC. This is their document. It shows their document number on the website. It's not a certificate. Oftentimes they're going on to CTC and somehow printing a certificate. The certificate does not say what they're credentialed in specifically. It only says they have a credential. So we really are looking for that document from CTC with their document number. Their supervisor and mentoring documentation for at least 2 semesters. It could be, oh, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. For 2 semesters. If that has been waived, they would have been notified, and that would only be waived for someone that has another clear credential. Okay, and then at top center, letter verifying 4 semesters of teaching experience. If they have another credential, we might tell them they only need to have 2 semesters of teaching, but 4 is the standard for someone that has not. And then they're going to give us a copy of their transcript for their U.S. Constitution requirement. It could be proof of exam. It could be a course they took way back in their first years of community college as well. A lot of times that gets vetted out during the initial recommendation process, but if not, they need to provide proof along with their credential clearing application. And then they need a copy of their final University of San Diego transcript with all completed coursework. And they also need to show us proof of CPR certification that was valid at some point during the preliminary credential period. And it needs to be for adults, children, and infants. So in that application packet, there is a checklist, and it's really important to go through that checklist and make sure you have everything. If you know from your original email that something has been waived, you can write waived on there. If we don't have a record of it, we'll definitely reach out to you about that. But this really is a good guide for making sure that you are ready to clear your credential. So what happens next? Once all of the documents are gathered and everything is checked off on that cover page, you're sending that application to LACO, and we recommend making a copy of all documents and secure tracking for your package. It can also be dropped off in person. It's important that you call first to make sure someone is available to meet you in the lobby, as our receptionist cannot accept any applications. And then if you are interested in expediting, you need to have the additional $60 for that. The clear recommendation letter will be sent by email and then can be shared with your school district. And then final approval is granted by CTC. So we do finalize the application, and it's physically mailed to CTC, and it will again take approximately 3 months before it is fully through the approval process, and CTC posts that onto their website, onto your account. So for clear credential and renewal, CTC will issue the clear credential for 5 years, and then every 5 years you renew that online. And right now it is $102.65. But this is how your authorizations will appear on the CTC website. Now, LACO CTE website and credentials website, we have several different areas. And again, it's going to look a little different when we show it to you in just a moment because it is under the final parts of construction, but we have all of our contact information, our application packets, our University of San Diego schedules. Right now, we're finishing up the fall semester, and then our spring schedule will be coming out sometime in November. It will be posted, and it also gets emailed out to all of our current candidates. We also have frequently asked questions. We have our candidate handbooks, and there's also an overview of coursework. I put our phone number on here. It's also on the next slide as well, but just make a note of it, especially while our website is in this flux state right now. If you can't find something, please call our office. Lucy and Christina are amazing at helping people on the phones. They will email you or help you navigate to where you need to go. But we can definitely, if you need a credential application, we can just attach it to an email and send it to you. And then, so I'm going to take a pause at this moment. Nancy, do we have anything else in the chat that needs to be addressed at this time?
No, I haven't had any other questions posed.
They're a quiet group.
I know. Just to mention, on the list of individual subjects, I think Erin pointed out social sciences was not on our list. And yes, social science is definitely one of those that we can do.
You know, I think it might have dropped down under the slide. So
yeah,
that could be what it was.
I'm going to post our webpage link in the chat too, by the way.
Okay.
There we go.
Losing everyone here. Okay.
Otherwise, I haven't seen any other questions posed yet.
Okay.
Okay, here comes a few. All right, is there any way we can schedule an appointment to talk to someone one-on-one?
Currently, we're available to assist on phone. We do not have in-person appointments at this time, but we can certainly do a Zoom if we need to. We don't do one-on-one appointments to go through the, to assist with filling out the entire packet. But if it's a specific question, obviously we're here to help. If it's a special circumstance, just reach out to our office and we'll navigate that and assist. But yeah, we don't have people come into the office any longer.
Okay. All right, next question. As a 100% new applicant, do you have to have a job pending or district hiring you to apply, or can the candidate apply to start applying for jobs across different districts? I'm a newbie. Hi, newbie.
Hi, newbie. We like newbies. You'll be a teacher one day. That's awesome. So yes, you do not have to have an offer. There's one form in the application, our LACO form, and at the bottom, it asks you if you are currently employed and to provide us your supervisor's information. And that's so that we can contact them in order to get your supervision and mentoring documentation going. But you would leave that blank. And then you're also signing off within the application that once you do get hired, you will notify us of your supervisor so that we can contact them and make sure that that supervision and mentoring requirement is taking place. But Yeah, we welcome you to apply, even though you don't have a job pending. And then we share your information. We share information out with all of our candidates when districts share job openings that they have. So that's another good resource for you while you're job hunting.
Okay, Linda, request to review the general subjects of the adult ed credential again.
Okay.
That's not something that some people have heard of. Yeah.
Okay, so general subjects, they're under that category. First of all, you have personal development is one category, and then the other category is career technical ed. So personal development, the general subjects are art, health and safety, family education, and financial literacy. And there are a lot of areas within that. So let me read to you a little bit longer list since we have plenty of time right now. So for art, adaptive arts and crafts, and that would be for adults with disabilities, arts and crafts, general, creative arts for older adults, decorative arts, interior design, and performing arts for older adults. And then for health and safety, the full list is adaptive PE for adults with disabilities, CPR, first aid, environmental safety, health education, health for older adults, health for adults with disabilities, physical fitness, older adults, nutrition, physical fitness and conditioning, safety for older adults, and just basic safety education. And then under family education, we have adaptive computer technology, and this is for adults with disabilities, childbirth education, communication skills, clothing construction, dietetics, food management, food preparation, family management, home management, human development, interior design, nutrition, parent education, public affairs, self-maintenance for older adults, self-maintenance for adults with disabilities. And then the financial literacy is consumer education and retirement planning. So that's the complete list. I gave you an abridged version earlier. Does that answer your question, or is there more? You need the 3 years experience. And if you're familiar with CTE credentials, think of those qualifications for a CTE credential is the same for those personal development subjects. 3 years experience, but you can use besides the actual work experience, you can use coursework on an official transcript, industry certification, something like that to meet your 3-year requirement. And then the other area, as I mentioned, is that career technical ed, and that's those 15 industry sectors. So it's the same exact industry sectors and qualifications as it would be for a straight CTE credential, which allows K-12 and adult.
All right. Next question is a little bit different. It's about the relevancy of CTE credential versus general ed or special ed credentials. And the question is, why are CTE credentials not recognized as a relevant credential?
I wouldn't say they're not relevant. They are a sanctioned credential by the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing.
I'm wondering if they're hearing from their district that it's not equivalent because of the bachelor's degree. There's not a bachelor degree requirement versus single subject, multiple subject, or special ed.
Right, and that could be, if you want to clarify, I'm looking for that.
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay, so they're looking, when it's a CTE credential, especially, they're looking for a highly qualified teacher, and they're trying to meet those 11 elements, or 12 now, elements of a high quality CTE program. And not all CTE teachers have a bachelor's degree, so because it is not required. So it may be that's where you're hearing that piece, because it's not required.
And also, in some districts, it's the issue of whether those teachers are part of the bargaining unit or not. Part-time CTE teachers usually are not, but if somebody's teaching full-time CTE in some districts, they still may not be part of that bargaining unit. And so that may be an issue. And also if they're doing UCA through G, that could become an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, another one from an OB. She calls herself an OB. She's an OB who has stepped away from teaching for a little bit, so she's not sure which courses will still be counted or if I have to start all over again.
Oh, so if something is on an official transcript, it's official. It doesn't matter how old it is. If you can get it on an official transcript, it still counts. Are you referring that you have the old adult ed, voc ed credential? Is that what you're referring to? And how it was who I'm trying to find that.
This was Cheryl.
Cheryl.
Manor. Are you on there, Cheryl?
Hi. Yeah, I'm here.
Hi.
I got a Ryan designated credential a long time ago, like in the 80s, maybe 80s, 90s. And so I stepped away and retired from the government. So now I'm back into teaching, but I don't know. I'm just completely lost now because things have changed so much. So I'm trying to figure out what it is I need to do to get back in the game. I'm currently a sub for the Cucamonga district and Baldy View ROP. So I want to take it a little bit higher, but I don't know what I need to do.
Right. You will need to fill out a new application to get the new credential, but you probably have some, it'll still show that you had a clear credential, but I don't know, will Orion still show up on CTC, Nancy? It
No.
won't. Yeah. I was going to say my dad had Orion, so you don't
Oh,
hear
that hurts.
I have Orion.
So, but you know, it's prior to what is on CTC right now. So we'll definitely work with you, dig up what you have from the past there, any documents that you might have, and you can scan and send that to Nancy and I, and we'll take a look at it and see what else you need to get. And then also let us know what you're interested in. It's always good to let us know. Sometimes we just get transcripts and people don't put down what they think they qualify for or what they're really interested in. We do evaluate and look at everything we can possibly give them, but it's always nice to see what people think they qualify for and what they're hoping to apply for and get, because then we can work with them a little more closely and say, okay, this is what you need still. But yeah, we'd be happy to work with you on that and get that going. Do you remember what authorizations you had?
I don't remember. It's been so long.
Yeah.
And I was the one who asked about the one-on-one. So it would really help to have that help from you and Nancy.
Yeah. Let's start out with you gathering your information and send that off to us, and then we'll get you going in the right direction.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, then we have this is an interesting question. What kind of credential is needed to be an administrator in adult ed, and what services can that credential holder provide?
Oh, Nancy, do you want to take that one?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, there's what we have to offer is the designated subject supervision and coordination credential, but it's only accepted by some ROCPs and some adult schools. And so you would need to check within, if you were interested in becoming an administrator in your own district, you would need to check with them to see whether they accept it or not. That DS supervision coordination credential is something you can get once you have taught either adult ed or CTE for 3 years full time. And then you also need to pass the CBEST or the BSR equivalency. And then we have a course that we offer once a year that you can take. It's always offered around May 1st, and it's a 12-week course. And then once all of that is done, you can actually apply for the supervision and coordination credential. but it's pretty limited as far as the agencies that will accept it. What's usually accepted for administrative positions in school districts is what's called the Administrative Services Credential. We don't handle that ourselves. There is another unit in Laco that handles that, or every university pretty much has it. All the UCs, all the CSUs, and all the private universities. And that's a very extensive program. You can do the admin credential by itself, or you can do it in connection with a master's degree, but you have to have a basic credential first, and you have to have teaching experience or counseling experience, and go through that program. So let's see, next question is related to that is an adult ed admin credential accepted in juvenile court schools? Well, if you mean the supervision and coordination credential, I don't think so, because the juvenile court schools is part of LACO, and typically county offices of education will not accept that credential for administrative positions. But you should check at your own court school. If they accepted supervision and coordination, you would be limited as far as what kinds of duties you could have supervising either adult ed or CTE teachers, but it's not called an administrative credential. That's a whole different credential. Then we have a question. Can we email the presentation materials? I think we're going to email the recording out, right, Linda?
Yes, and it'll probably be a link to our Canvas page where the recording will be posted. That's what we've been doing after webinars.
Let me see here. Here's one. Is community college teaching credential different from adult ed teaching credential? One job posting had a requirement of having a community college teaching credential.
So there are different credentials and different requirements at various community colleges. Even this month, I have credentialed 3 different people for adult ed credentials that have jobs at community colleges. The community college was requiring them to have a CTE credential, a CTE authorization, either on a CTE credential or on an adult ed credential. There may be other requirements at the community college. We don't do community college credentials, and that's not something I'm real familiar with, but I would look closely at whatever job postings you're applying for, and you need to meet that requirement. Nancy, do you know anything more about the community college credential?
Yeah, I actually have a very, very old community college credential. They used to have them, then they stopped having them, and then they sort of started having them, but overall, they usually don't require them. But they like our CTE credential, or if you're doing an academic subject like ESL, then they like our adult ed credential. Any community college job has an equivalency form, so that you can go through, and if you don't have one requirement, well, what do you have that's equivalent? It might be work experience, it might be other types of credentials, it might be teaching experience. And so anytime you apply for a community college job, you should go through that application and do that equivalency form, because they may see something they'll accept as opposed to one of the other requirements.
Thank you, Nancy. Do we have any more questions? Did we miss any in the chat? I'm scrolling through to see if we missed any. Open up your mic if you have a question and don't want to put it in the chat. You can speak out to us directly.
I don't think I missed any.
We got them all. Okay. So
I had a question.
Go
If
ahead.
I have a question, let's say tomorrow, I can contact either one of you or send you an email?
Yes, let me share my screen here again. Here's my email address. And then this number, the 562-922-6798, that's our main line. And Lucy and Christina, as I mentioned earlier, are amazing at assisting candidates. They do Zoom assistance if people are having difficulty navigating something either on the CTC website or if they have a specific question on filling out an application, they will go on and schedule a Zoom meeting if need be. And then Nancy's email is Wagner. And Nancy, can you put your email in the chat?
I'll put it
Sure.
there right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I didn't give Nancy a proper introduction earlier. Nancy is she is our contract consultant, so she works alongside me and works on processing credentials, and she is a wealth of knowledge on CTE and all things adult ed as well. I'm so lucky to have her working with me. And back in the day when I was a CTE teacher, she was the director of LA County ROP. So we are very fortunate to have her on our team.
I'm glad to be part of the team. I think some people are dropping off, Linda, and so
Okay.
I did put our
Oh.
feedback link in the chat.
Yes, there's a feedback link if you could put it there. The other thing that I am going to, so this is what Nancy has put in the chat, but I also want to show you where we're at with our website right now. Let me share this. So for those of you that are interested in the new website, it's got a little different cover page. This is going in from the beginning, but as you can see here, there is a credentialing button. And then these are our 3 programs, the administrative credential that Nancy mentioned earlier. And then we also have beginning teacher programs. And then here's ours, adult ed and career technical ed. So you click on that. This is where we have a little glitch. It should have taken you right to our credential page, but they've got a little extra step that we're going to eliminate, but you can click on credentials again. If you click here, it takes you to our schedule. And then when you scroll down, these are all of our different application packets. So we were mentioning earlier, packet number 3, packet number 4. Those are your adult ed packets for the preliminary. So packet 3 is for someone that is a first-time applicant. Even if they've held a credential in another state, in California, they're considered a first-time applicant. And then packet 4 is for someone that has something else, a permit or a credential on file with CTC, then they would use that packet because it's going to eliminate those things that you already have completed and in the system with CTC. So that will help your process. Now, right now, these are not hyperlinked. Right now, there is an extra thing that you scroll down to here. And then this is where it links to our document. So this is going to look different. I apologize that we're kind of having to look at it a little bit differently right now. But it will be great once it's all done. I'm positive. But this is our packet number 3. And then this is that cover sheet. It walks you through each of the steps that we talked about already, what you need to include with your packet. This gives the general requirements with a little more detail than was on my slides. So this is a great resource to review. And then what I was actually reading from when I was giving you those long list of those personal development general subjects, this is included in the application as well. So here's all the general subjects, personal development, and then it goes into the CTE subjects. It goes on to this next page, and those are these on the far left. Those are the 15 industry sectors. So on the credential, it will say, for example, education, child development, and family services. Well, that person could be teaching American Sign Language or teaching career development classes, or it could be a language interpreter. It's a little different than what's on a K-12 education, child development, family services sector. So you can kind of look through that. And then when we get into the academic subjects, we talked about ESL and the need for 20 semester units if it's combined upper and lower, 10 of the upper division. And then these are the areas. And again, it can be a combination. It doesn't have to be in any one area. And then the ESBS, elementary and secondary basic skills, those are the requirements. And then the individual subjects. Then this is the LACO form that we mentioned earlier. So this gives us some demographic information that we need and also tells us exactly what you're interested in. This is what I was talking about. Let us know what you're interested in, what you think you qualify for, and let's start there. And then this is what Nancy and I were talking about too, this teaching assignment section. This is where if you are already employed or have an offer on the table, you can go ahead and fill this section out. If you don't have an offer for teaching under this credential that you're applying for, you leave it blank. And then you notify us once you are hired. And then we'll send the appropriate documents. Again, our data that we need for accreditation, demographics, all of that. This page is where you're agreeing to the terms of being a candidate in our program. So this has all of the courses listed. Again, you may have something that might get waived depending on your particular situation. So then that will be revealed in your email when you receive it. But these are all the requirements laid out, and then you're signing off that you agree. Now we're getting into CTC's 41-4 form. This is where we really want candidates to follow the instructions. It tells them do not complete sections 3, 4, 5, and 8. Okay. Once we determine exactly what needs to be there, we fill that part in so that it is sent properly to CTC and doesn't get rejected. So that's why it's like that. It's really important. It goes through each of the sections and what is needed. We talked a lot about this professional fitness earlier. There needs to be an explanation if there are any yes answers. So when we talk about using the correct CTC 41-4 form especially, we're looking right here in the bottom left-hand corner for the form revision date. So right now CTC is only accepting revision date of 9/2022. We don't know when they're going to update it again. In the school year 21-22, they had 3 updates to it. So right now we're still holding it September of 2022. So but recently I've received some that are dates from long ago. So I know someone somewhere in an HR department is holding on to old applications. So we really want to make sure you're using the one off the website. So the 41-4 form continues. Everything needs to be filled out except for those sections. We'll fill this out so that it has the correct code. And then the signature is here. And then after that, it goes into detail. So if someone did answer yes on any one of those professional fitness questions, this is where they need to give the detail and then also provide that backup documentation. If you don't have anything to fill out on here, you don't need to include these pages in your application. And then here are some other things to help you in the process. This is a work experience verification letter. So it shows you what we need. So a year of work experience based on CTC's criteria is 1,000 hours per calendar year. So it is possible to have a part-time position and reach that 1,000 hours. It doesn't have to be a full-time position. But what's important is that in this letter, it gives the information that we need. It should be on letterhead whenever possible. It needs to have the dates, your title, what was your job title, and then what were your duties, some basic duties. What we're looking for is that it's aligned with that general subject that you're applying for. And then this is the self-verification process. Sometimes the business is no longer in existence and you have to come up with another way to verify your experience. So this is an example of a letter that a candidate could write for themselves and stating their case of what they did, but it has to be notarized. And then it has to have 5 supporting documents. So right here under B gives a list of some of those documentations. It should be a variety of documents to back up what you're stating in your self-verification letter. So tax statements, maybe you have clients, maybe you have a business license, letters from customers, maybe a supplier, business associate. So we get a lot from people's accountants that do their taxes, stating, you know, that they worked in this business for X amount of years. So there's a lot of different things that can be used for that. So that's the self-verification process. And then this is the request for live scan form. And so you're gonna fill out you're gonna take it with you to your appointment for your live scan. But what we're looking for when we get it is this blue section at the bottom that has been filled out. That means you have completed the process getting your live scan done. And then we're able to include that with your packet. Again, just a reminder, COC does not have to be posted on CTC before you send us your packet. Because we do mail the adult ed applications, by the time your application gets to CTC, your COC will probably have gone through. So it's a little bit different process for that than a straight CTE credential. Here's more information on LifeScan, follows that. And it continues, there's a lot of information there. And then this is the overview of the program. The very first thing that everyone completes is early orientation. For adult ed credentials, they do have 2 additional modules for adult learning and instructional technology. So those get completed within the first 30 days of receiving the preliminary credential, and then a copy of the 3 completion certificates are sent to our office and we record that. It's all online and it's free. And then you start your coursework and then continue with the items to clear your credentials. So this is a good checklist to keep as well. And here is a graphic version of the program. Some people like the visual. It includes all of the requirements. And then this goes into some more detail on the coursework and gives a course description for each. Also shows you the fees for each of the courses. You pay for each course as you register for it. There are some other programs that make you pay a larger amount up front. So we try to keep it as cost effective as we can for our candidates and manageable. And then that US Constitution requirement, if you don't have an old poli-sci class that covered US Constitution or a US history course that covered US Constitution, then there are some other options for you. Candidates can take a course through University of California at San Diego, or there is an exam process. Here's a link for that, and also UCLA Extension. And that can be done at any time during the 3 years. You don't need to wait till the very end. We recommend that you don't wait till the very end, that it's one of those things you get out of the way as soon as possible if you don't have that. So that is the adult ed application packet. I hope you have a few minutes, or it's very short, the program feedback. If you can please go to that link in the chat. Nancy and I will stay on the Zoom for a few more minutes. If anyone has specific questions, if they want to hang back, if you have something that you didn't want to ask openly, or if you have some CTE credential questions that we can help you with, we can also